Go ahead and ask yourself, what does a police detective really do behind the scenes at work? Law enforcement as a whole has gained a lot of popularity in the TV world, with shows such as CSI, Law and Order, and Criminal Minds has given us a view of what it is to actually be one of them. Yes, some of those facilities are very nice, they're up to date, they have a huge staff. Some of them aren't just quite as fortunate. What they do have in common is how they get things done. This past summer, I was an intern at the Leon County Sheriff's Office, and I gained a first-hand experience of some of the major units, and I'll be giving you somewhat of a behind-the-scenes look. To start off, one of the more elaborate common crimes that financial crimes detectives deal with is check fraud. As stated in the Florida Statute 83205, it is unlawful for any person by act or common scheme to cash or deposit any item to any bank or depository with intent to defraud. The following is a check fraud scheme. So let's say that Aaron and Bill, they just got married. Congratulations, Ohio. But unfortunately, you're also getting divorced. Sorry. Bill contacts Julian, who's a divorce lawyer, and he explains the situation and requests his services. Julian explains to Bill that he offers a $5,000 fee for helping out with them. Bill agrees to that, but he also adds that he'd like to add $10,000 that he would like Julian to send to Aaron that he would think would go to a possible settlement. What Julian doesn't know is that he's about to receive a fake check, and Bill and Aaron aren't actually getting divorced. Julian will get his $5,000, but once the bank realizes that it's fake, he'll actually have to give that back plus owe the $10,000. And Bill and Aaron live happily ever after with their $10,000. But at the same time, there are homeless people that are able to cash checks are also victims of this, where if you offer them clothing, gifts, cash, anything, they'll gladly cash your checks without even knowing that they're real. But luckily, not everybody gets away with this, and there are penalties. Anything that's less than $150 is a first-degree misdemeanor, with a sentence of less than a year and a fine of $1,000. Over that is a third-degree felony with a sentence of less than 5 years and a fine of $5,000. Now, the detectives in the crime scene have a different set of responsibilities. Normally, when there's a crime committed, the ultimate goal is a conviction. To get that conviction, you need evidence, and putting the person in the scene of the crime also helps. Therefore, fingerprints have become very essential to the forensics field. They've become a universal method for positive identifications. They generally don't alter their form, and it's very rare for two people to possess the same prints. To get the prints off an object, it all starts with the superglue technique. And according to the cyanoacrylate fuming method, the superglue technique was first used by the Japanese in 1978 and was brought back here around the same time through American intel. So when you have your object with the fingerprints that you want to get, you would place it into a fuming chamber along with cups filled with water that would affect the humidity, as well as a superglue in an open container on a hot plate. The combination of the superglue vapor with the moisture in the air will actually allow fingerprints to come up and be easily seen. Then comes the part that you guys may be familiar with, which is powder. There's two common forms. There's black, which is made out of charcoal, and magnetic, which is just simply magnetic shavings. In terms of which one you could use, they're both frequently used, and it's pretty much the detective's discretion. Chemicals as well can be used. Ninhydrin, for example, is really good with paper. It makes the prints come up purple, so they're easy to see. So this works good for checks, letters, cardboard boxes. A lab's budget is also a really big big factor. The more effective a chemical is, the more likely it's going to cost more. So the use of it can be sparingly, and that just affects the chemical that they'd be using. While the Violent Crimes Unit deals with different aspects of violent crimes, one in particular has them, visiting or making trips to the hospital. Whenever a dead body comes up, there's most likely to be an autopsy that follows, and around the U.S., these are actually being done by unqualified people and/or in poor facilities to legit doctors in pretty well upscale facilities. According to PBS Frontline's postmortem, a coroner in South Carolina actually cremated Michael Jordan's father's body because he didn't have anywhere to store the body, which complicated further inquiries of his death. And the body was found on the state line between South Carolina and North Carolina. So if it had actually been found, or if the people in North Carolina had taken it, he actually could have been placed in a fully equipped facility. Some places, for example, don't even have places to store their body, where one from the documentary had to use an ice truck. Then there's individuals like Dr. Gill, who made his way around the country making questionable decisions on his autopsies. Decisions like his could lead to wrongful convictions or possibly even missing a homicide. There's been a national standard for a push here in the U.S. that forensic pathologists be the ones that are only employed. At the time the documentary was done in 2011, and there was only 500 forensic pathologists practicing, and we would need double that to meet America's demand. Tallahassee Memorial Hospital actually has a pretty well set up facility. It's about double the size of this classroom. It has a fridge, and during the autopsy there's one doctor and 2 assistants. The process begins with inspecting the body for scars, tattoos, or the injury itself. The doctor would go into detail about this. For example, I got to see a shotgun suicide, and he pretty much explained to us where the gun was pointed just simply by looking at the bones of the nose. From there, the brain's taken out, the body's cut open, organs are weighed, body fluids are taken out. And on average, this could take an hour, and it all depends on the body. While all these units are in charge of following different crimes, they're each a link that holds the police office together. And in conclusion, I hope this speech has shed some light on the realities of law enforcement that aren't shown on TV. Financial crimes, forensics, and autopsies are a serious matter, but there are dedicated individuals that get the job done. So the next time you're watching a crime show, just pick out the aspects that you think are real and some that might be a stretch. Thank you.